That literally started as soon as I hit the record button. That is hilarious. Not really. Okay, hold up. Why, hello, friends. It's quiet now. My name is Lizzie Morris, and this is episode 6 of the Life with Lizzie show. So welcome. Today, I wanted to take a different turn on how I tell my story, and I want to start actually kind of explaining to you guys how you can start telling your story as well. I kind of mentioned this. I always refer back to all my other episodes if you haven't noticed this far, but I mentioned in the last podcast episode that I feel like for me personally, when I go through something and I come out, stronger on the other side, or even when I'm still going through something sometimes, I find it's important to share my story and to share, the things that I've overcome, because I know it helps inspire other people, because I know I was inspired by other people's stories, seeing other people conquer the things that I was scared to conquer, and seeing people that were in the exact same shoes as I was, however long ago, and looking at where they are now. It's like, wow. And that's what telling your story is. It's healing for you, but it's also inspiration to other people. And one of the other goals with this podcast, again, I mentioned in the last episode, was I feel myself wanting to talk more about, birth and like womanhood and women in general and blah, 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 blah. But another goal I did have is I also wanted to offer some free value when it came to, this does not just apply to social media. But it definitely helps if you are in the social media space and you do not have to be some type of influencer or anything like that in that type of field to apply this. I think a lot of small business owners and things like that can also benefit from the same tactics. And I don't say that in a bad way. Tactics is a great word. But the tactics that we use in network marketing to show people who we are, because then people start to trust you. They start to know you. They start to like you. And when people find somebody that they know, they like, and they trust, they tend to do not only business with them, but create better relationships with them. And it's just better for everybody, just to be yourself and to share what you've been through. And that's how you find your people. So I wanted to make this today's podcast episode kind of like a training, if you will, okay, on how to share your story, and just kind of like how it can really, really benefit you no matter what. Again, you don't even have to be a small business owner. You could just be a girl in college, and I will guarantee you sharing your story will take you so much further in any avenue of life you're in. So let's go ahead and get started with this episode and how to share your story and level up with that. So like I mentioned previously, sharing your story helps people get to know, like, and trust you. When they get to know, like, and trust you, they feel more comfortable doing business with you. They feel more comfortable opening up doors for you and things like that. And it helps you just build these amazing relationships that you would have no idea otherwise, like who these people were, because you didn't share something that they could relate to. For instance, one of my great friends, Cindy Carter, girl, I don't know if you're hearing this right now, but she asked me the other day, she was like, what do you think, makes, like, what do you think keeps us as friends? Like, what is it that drew us as friends? She's like, I know what drew me to you, but I want to know what drew you to me. And I was like, okay, so I'm scrolling on Facebook and I see this girl. We both loved makeup. Okay. So she shared her passion for makeup. She was on a major weight loss journey. She had lost like 100 pounds or something like that. I had just gained 100 pounds. So I was really inspired because she had came from exactly where I was, because she shared that on social media. And so I would watch her do her workouts and stuff. And I just really felt a really like relatable connection to her. She shared her food addiction. She shared her anxiety, her depression. She shared so many things with the world and shared her story so many times that I felt like, dang, we have a lot in common. And it became very easy. See, here's the thing. I have realized with a lot of these online friendships that I have created, yes, they're online, and a lot of people will throw around the thing like, it's not people in your real everyday life. But let me tell you, because people have opened up about those things, I don't feel like the friendship is being forced. It's so much easier to create these connections, and then you can then meet them in person. Like, hello, I'm supposed to be meeting Cindy Carter any day now, possibly. And she's all the way in West Virginia. Friendship was never forced. I was able, because she was just so open, I was able to just go to her, and we were able to talk about those things because she had opened the door already. It felt so comfortable, and that's not just singled out to her. This is with a lot of my online friends, because, you know, what we are taught in network marketing is to share your story. And here's the thing, me and Cindy don't even do business together, as in like, we don't benefit from each other in business, but we still made one of the best, amazing friendships I've ever had in my entire life. You know, so like I said, it doesn't have to be just business. It's because we had all those other things in common first that kept us together throughout all these years. We've been friends for almost 4 years, and come the new year. I say all that to just say, you know, when she asked me that question, I kind of broke it down, like how I felt that we were such great friends and how it all began. It all began with just telling stories, right? And telling your story particularly. So I know, you know, with me mentioning that, like, because even for myself, I talk about my anxiety and depression online. I have talked about so many struggles in my life. And I know that can make people feel really uncomfortable thinking about opening up to, first of all, people you probably went to school with, people, your family, people that just don't know, even people that are in your everyday life, they still don't know these things about you, because let's be honest, we don't share these things about ourselves. If you're not a person, like, for instance, in network marketing that is encouraged to share their story, who else is encouraging us to share our stories? Nobody. I was never sharing my story until I got into social media, period. And it, you know, and this is not just about social media, but it's about understanding that there is power within opening up about yourself and sharing it with people and pushing yourself to the point, the uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable. You guys, I still feel uncomfortable sharing things online. I still am like, oh my gosh, my family's going to judge me. Oh my gosh, people are probably thinking I'm stupid. But I still do it, because the more I push past that emotion, which that's all it is an emotion, the more I push past those just wavering thoughts that are just lies. And even if people think something stupid of me, guess what? There's 100 other people that are going to think I'm funny, or 100 other people that are going to agree with me, or, you know, however many people that are in my corner, despite the negative, loud noises, right? I keep pushing past that, because you have to build that muscle. You have to constantly build your muscle of not being afraid, of pushing past fear, and it hurts. It makes your stomach in knots. Like right now, just thinking about it, because I posted something today that just had me anxious for no reason. And I was like, I don't even know if I want to post this, because I don't want my family to see this, just because I don't want them to judge me. And I was like, why do I care? It's what I feel. Why do I do what? Why do I care? Like, there's no reason. So you just have to remind yourself that. But the other part of that, as I was saying, is that you'd actually be shocked how many people you think are judging you that secretly stalk you. And actually, okay, I'm going to give you guys an example. Okay. If she's listening, if this girl's listening, it's no shade to you. It's just literally, I was having some anxiety around talking to you. You might not even listen to this podcast, because I'm not going to say your name, but you might know who you are. So there's this girl, we've been Facebook friends forever. And she was one of my very first customers when I had started the business that I'm in now, selling ketones. She was one of my very first customers. And, you know, the conversations always, I just always felt a little intimidated talking to her. I'm not sure why. It's nothing personal. I don't know. I think sometimes we can overthink messages as well. Like if someone's not adding emojis, like they're pissed off. It's like, no, that's some people just don't add emotion to text. So, she ended up canceling her smart ship, you know, that she was getting every month. I don't even remember why. And that didn't bother me. Like that just because she canceled it, like, I'm not going to hate her or nothing. Like, that doesn't matter to me. It's what she had to do. And she hadn't responded to a lot of my messages. It was like every time I was sending her a message, it just kept putting, she just didn't respond. The last time I had messaged her, I sent her a happy birthday message, and she didn't respond to that. She didn't like it. She didn't do anything. And so I just, it's horrible. We take these assumptions. Like, I'm the queen of assuming things. I promise you, I'm horrible at it, and I'm trying to get out of it. But I just kind of assumed this chick was just, like, over me, over my stuff. Well, let me tell you guys what this girl messaged me, like 2 days ago or so. It had only been 3 days since I had posted on my Facebook. I had been posting on my stories. I had been posting, TikToks and stuff. But she noticed I wasn't posting on my profile, and she messaged me, and she said, "Hey, I noticed you haven't posted in 3 days. I was just checking in and making sure you're okay." And this is the same girl who, and she put a heart emoji, keep in mind, okay, because I think that's, like, a good added touch. Because, like I told y'all, I always felt like there was no emotion in the text as much. But, because emojis are emotion. But, yeah, it was shocking, number one. And then number two, it was like, I really thought this girl wasn't watching me no more. I thought she was kind of, like, over my crap. Like, I didn't... Truly, like, this was a thought I have had multiple times. And so when I got that message from her, and I even got a message from somebody else too, like the day after that, and I was like, okay, I really need to get back on posting. Not because I'm like, I don't want to keep people worried, but because people are out there wanting to hear your story. I don't think you understand that once people have heard your story and you have inspired them, when you don't continue to share that, they notice. And I don't know, that made me feel very important. Not like on a pedestal, but like I have been feeling very like people don't care about what I have to say, like just dealing self-consciously. And so anyway, I know that was like an extra story, but I'm sharing that because genuinely sharing your story impacts people so much deeper than you will ever understand. There are people that are going to hear and see and listen to everything you say and then never say anything to you, but you could impact their life dramatically. So I know I've spoke, we're like 15 minutes in or something like that, and mostly all I've talked about is the benefits of sharing your story and like the good things that can come out of it. But I am telling you that because that's how incredibly life-changing it can be. And I know it seems so simple, but it really can be something that kind of changes you in so many good ways. It also has you kind of learn to explore yourself a little bit. Like, when you're encouraged to think about your story, sometimes at first people are like, well, I don't really know what to talk about. I don't know which parts to share. What is it that you have been through that is going to help somebody? And you can share that and be an inspiration for whatever it is that you had going on. It can, when you have to kind of dig deep and kind of look into yourself, I can't lie, sometimes it can bring up some like traumatic things, probably things we need to be dealing with. Like, let's be honest. I will say when I got into network marketing, I think I had a lot of spiritual experiences with God personally, just in this journey, as well, like definitive moments, with God in my life, but also just understanding what I've been through and just trying to work through those emotions, things that I had hidden under the rug for a very long time. And not everyone might experience that, but I'm just saying that, all that to say is that it really helps you understand who you are as a person. It helps you understand kind of like why you are the way you are. I don't say that in any negative way too. I'm not telling you to become your own therapist, but I think once you dig through your story, you will understand what I'm saying. You will understand that, because you went through this is how you're able to do X, Y, and Z, right? Because I went through grief with my father, now I'm able to, appreciate the people in my family more or whatever, like you guys get the gist. I think we all understand what I'm trying to say. So let's move into the part of like, okay, so how do I tell my story? Well, first off, obviously, everyone's story is completely different. There's not a script that I can particularly give you and say, this is exactly A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever, on how to do it. But I will tell you what I kind of looked at. And sometimes I think your story will change. Before I even get into this, I will tell you that you do not have to feel like, first off, your story is not fake. So when we say story, we mean like, this is not something you're making up, right? This is things that this is your life, as if you're writing like this autobiography and this is your life. Okay. That's what your story is, but it will evolve because different things will become important to you at that time. Different things will impact you at that time. Some things will stick forever. Some things will just change. It just depends on where you are in life. For instance, my story 2 years ago was a married woman going through infertility at a really young age, going through a major weight loss journey, to get pregnant. Well, guess what? My story is so different now. I'm a mom of 202. Infertility has left the building. Never imagined my life would be like this, but it's really, really crazy how different things can shift. So things can change. Okay. Keep that in mind. And you'll know, like once you become a master at telling your story where you're at now, it'll flow. So yeah, there's not a written rule book, but I'll just, say, what are the things that you feel have really shaped you as a human? Okay, so for me, food addiction is huge. There's a lot of bigger pieces to my story that I could add into that, but generally, like, food addiction was a huge thing that I built myself online over because I have gained and lost hundreds of pounds. And when I finally was able to get a hold of my health and start losing weight, after struggling like major food addiction, guys, I was 364 pounds. I shared that journey from day one, from the beginning of me losing weight. The day I was 364.8 pounds at 20, I think, years old, 20, 21, something like that. And I shared it with people, and I shared the food I was eating, and I showed the exercises that I would do, and I would show the supplements that I was taking, and I shared so much of it, and I would have so many women come to me and ask me for advice. And of course, I'm not like a nutritionist or a dietitian or whatever, but I can at least tell them like, hey, this is what works for me. It might not work for you, but hey, for me, that was huge in my life. Food addiction. For instance, another thing I went through was infertility. Do you know how many friends I made from being open about infertility? Because you know how many people, I had zero clue. I had no earthly idea how many girls on my Facebook were going through infertility because they were too scared to share it. I was very scared to share that I was even trying to conceive for a baby for a hot minute. I didn't want people to know. I just felt like I was less of a woman, and every single friend that I had, every single person literally in my family was pregnant around me, and I was just, it was hard, But because I started opening up about it, do you know how many friends I made? Quite many that I still talk to this day, quite many that I have went through some crazy life stuff with and been a part of, watching their children grow up and stuff like that. And they've done business with me as well. It's a great thing when you can make relationships with someone, genuinely enjoy the person, and they also do business with you and everyone is happy. Like, what better thing? And it's all because I opened up about my infertility. It's so scary. I promise y'all, I know, I've already expressed this. It's scary. So think about those things. We all have something. If you think you don't, you do. I promise you do. I'm not telling you to look for something wrong with yourself, but I'm telling you to kind of dig deep within yourself. Maybe you had a great life. Maybe your parents never divorced. Maybe, you were healthy growing up or whatever. Like maybe things were really good, maybe you had a lot of friends. Maybe you never even got picked on. but maybe you really were self-conscious regardless of all the things. And now you have found confidence. Or maybe you're trying to find confidence. You guys, you do not have to. That's another thing. I was sharing infertility before I got pregnant. I was sharing the storm during the storm, not when I got the rainbow. Right? So even now, if you were struggling with self-confidence, the best way to start building confidence, share that crap. Tell people like, I'm ready to feel myself again. I'm ready to feel happy in my skin. I deserve that. Boom, start sharing that on social media. Start sharing that journey. You are going to inspire hundreds of people. You don't know it. You might only get 5 likes on a post. You might only get 1 comment, 2 messages, whatever. People are scared to tell you that they're going through the same thing. People are scared to share their stories, which is why we have to do it. The people that are listening to this podcast, the people that, have that story that can help somebody, it is a duty. I think it is a duty. I mean, I can't sit here and shame you for not wanting to share, but I could tell you that you quite literally have no earthly idea how many people you impact. You never know. I quite frankly don't know. I checked my podcast analytics today and saw that I was in 5 or 6 countries of active listeners listening in Germany, Canada, the UK, I can't remember if it was Australia or another country. But I have listeners across the globe. I could potentially be impacting lives all over the entire world. The entire world. Not just the United States, literally other continents. Do you guys pick up what I'm putting down? Do you see how this is quite literally something huge that I don't think a lot of people understand the power of it. So I'm telling you guys all this. I encourage you, go push past that fear. Do you know what my mentor always says? Follow the puke. If it makes you feel like you're going to throw up, you need to do it. Okay? Seriously. Fear and uncomfortableness is where growth happens. And we always need to grow, even if it's not for a business online. We always need to grow spiritually and personally in all the ways. And telling your story is just the beginning. So I encourage you guys to, go make a post on social media. Post about something that, would make you feel a little bit relieved. Once you post it, it's scary posting it, but after you post it, it's like, wow, actually, and then you'll notice people agreeing with you, or you'll notice people chiming in with you, and you might even get people dogging on you. I don't really get that too often anymore. I've kind of cut that crap off. You might get a family member, you might get a person, you might get some, and you know what? You can't, and I know it's easier said than done, because it took me a while to get it down to, but I'm telling you, as long as you are not harming somebody or outlandishly bashing someone that should not be said negatively about, if you're just sharing something that's therapeutic for you and will help other people, do not let a negative comment or someone say anything bad about you sharing your life. This is your story. You're the one who lived it. No one else can take that away from you. Nobody else can invalidate you. Nobody can tell you, no, that didn't happen. Were you me experiencing my reality? No. So nobody can tell you that. Don't let it stop you from moving forward. I can't say don't let it upset you, because even people that I know that are a lot more, got a bigger backbone than I do, still get bothered by messages and comments like that. But like I said, it's just a matter of using that muscle to push past it and not let it stop you from continuing to grow and develop and inspire more people and find the people that are going to make your life so much better. Are you somebody that has no friends that you feel like can relate to you? You might still be trying to hang on to that high school friend that is doing something totally different with their life, and you love them and all, but that friendship is just that's sailed. Or there's just relationships that you're trying to hang on to, or maybe you really don't have any friends. That's how I felt for a hot minute there. At one point, I felt like I only had one friend, and that was just it was not fulfilling, and so it was when I shared that story, when I started opening up. And imagine you finding people that have the same interests as you. It's great to be friends with people that don't have everything in common with you too. Okay, like, let's be real. You need to be friends with other people too. But finding your people that like speak your language, and I don't mean like, well, we could talk about like actual language, but just they speak your language and they understand you and they get you and you get each other, and things just make sense when you talk and things just flow and you have the same morals and things just really line up because I have shared my freaking story, because they have shared their freaking story. So I'm telling you, go share your freaking story today. I encourage you to do so. Tag me in it on social media, send it to me, text it to me, whatever you want to do. I want to see your content. I want to encourage you and lift you up and motivate you to keep sharing that, because I promise you're going to open so many new doors. Start to share things on that journey of whatever is a part of your story, whatever that might be. So I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. If you have any questions or, want to talk a little bit further about sharing your story, feel free to DM me on social media. I will leave all my social media links in the show notes if y'all know how to access that. But if not, you can go to Instagram at Lizzie and Little, LIZZYANDLITTLE. And then Facebook is Lizzie Morris. Like I said, I'll have everything linked below. Please tag me in your stories if you did find some type of value in this. Let me know if you're enjoying this podcast. I would love to discuss more things. If you ever have any suggestions or anything you want me to train on, talk about, whatever the subject may be, it literally I'm going to say nothing's off limits to suggest. Okay, you could suggest anything and we'll see what you say, but I'm really open to it because I would love to know what y'all want to hear. So love y'all and I appreciate y'all, and I will see you in the next episode of the show. Bye guys.